Hey there, it's Lauren with Rustic Honey, and welcome back. Today, I'm excited to take you along as I show you our Halloween decorations around the farmhouse. We make our home extra cozy for the fall season, and I'm also doing a little bit of homemaking and a little bit of what I'm calling selfless self-care. I'll explain more as we go, but it's pretty much what makes our home happy. Let's get into it. Well, spoiler alert, I guess the key to a happy home for me is just a crisp fall morning like this, a good warm cup of coffee, and a homemade breakfast. And that's what we're going to jump into first in today's video. Although I am going to talk to you about a lot of other things I've been thinking about as far as how we can think about our homemaking differently and how it can be a way of taking care of ourselves as well as taking care of our family. I know that as moms, we tend to always think about everyone else's needs. And I even have told my husband at times I feel like a human pinball between our 4 kids because someone always needs me. And as soon as I get done helping someone else needs me. And it often feels like we don't have time to take care of ourselves or to put our own interests first. And I think that we can kind of fall into that trap at times in our mindset. And so I had a recent thought about selfless self-care and how it pertains to our homemaking. So I'm going to share a few of those thoughts with you today as we work around the farmhouse. First off, with starting with some breakfast for our family. I'm making some sourdough English muffins, and I've shared these before in another vlog, but I'll link the recipe for you in the description box below. Now that the weather is changing, I've been trying to get my sourdough starter out of the refrigerator a little bit more often and getting some breads going. And English muffins are just so simple. If I think of it just right before bed the night before, if I know the kids are going to be home, English muffins are a really easy one to throw together. So that's what I'm doing this morning as Ruth there is sneaking a snooze a little bit too early. I don't know what her deal was, but she snuck in an extra nap there that she was not supposed to. But routines, schmootines, who needs them, right? You know I'm absolutely kidding. I love nothing more than a plan. If we've been hanging out at all, you know this. It's actually sometimes a problem because I like my plans and my routines. And you know what? Life with 4 kids, under the age of 10, there's only so much you can plan for, and then life happens. I mean, I think life just throws us for loops all the time. Someone gets sick, our schedule of activities has to change, or we add an extra basketball practice into the schedule for the week. There's just lots of curveballs. But I have come to find that with a little bit of prep work, a little bit of planning and intentionality, that I can take on those curveballs and handle them a lot better. And I have found that those things turn out to be forms of self-care that benefit not only myself, but also everyone else in our home. The more I'm prepared, the more I'm prepped for the week, the more smoothly things go, the more energy I have, and honestly, the better energy I bring to the table as far as my mood. And we all know that when mom is in a good mood, our house is a lot happier. Guys, as a mom of 4 little kids, it can be very difficult for me to fit in time to take care of myself. But one thing that I find that helps is to have little rituals for yourself or little routines throughout the day. And one of those that I stick to no matter what is my evening routine, where I can wash my face, brush my teeth, and take my vitamins, which brings me to today's sponsor, Ritual. For about a month now, I have been taking and loving the postnatal supplement from Ritual. It has the highest quality ingredients, and I love that they can show you where they source their ingredients, and they're also third-party tested. Being postpartum with my 4th child, I've been a lot more mindful about my health and my protein intake and making sure that I get all of those daily vitamins that I need. And this one fit the bill. It had everything on it from all the research that I've done on the things that I need. This already had it in here. And I absolutely, honestly love the smell of these, which is kind of a random comment. Thankfully, I've never been one of those people that really struggles with morning sickness. Traditional prenatal vitamins absolutely smell horrible and make you want to be sick, but I love the smell of these. They have different ones, but this one is the citrus. And honestly, it smells so good. And when you have a good smelling routine, I look forward to taking my vitamins at night. So like I said, right now I'm taking their postnatal vitamin, but they have other options on their site as well. And when I'm out of the postpartum season, I plan to check out their daily women's multivitamin too. So be sure to check out their different options on their website. And Ritual is offering Rustic Honey viewers 25% off of their first order. So be sure to check out my link in the description box below. And thank you again so much to Ritual for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Now, speaking of some little self-care rituals, one thing I do love to do before bed typically is use this handy little satin hands kit that I got from a friend, not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, but it's a Mary Kay, I think it's called Satin Hands, and it's a 3-part system, but man, it makes your hands so soft. So I love just incorporating those things throughout the day as kind of a little pick-me-up, or maybe even as a way to reward myself for working hard on something like the dishes. And then, my hands will be dry after the dishes, so that's when I'll incorporate something like that to take care of myself. Those little pockets of self-care really do add up. Now, as you might have noticed, it is a Monday in this video, which means my kids are home from school. I'm getting them set up to do a little bit of review work and reading, and I thought I'd walk you through what our decorations ended up looking like for Halloween. I didn't really take the camera with me as I decorated our porches. I ended up doing this on an afternoon on the weekend, and I just didn't feel like setting my camera up and going through all of that. But I so enjoyed just going to town, decorating our entire porch. I chopped down the rest of our corn basically out of the garden and put them all around the posts on the back porch. And it just kind of pulled you in and made it so cozy on the porch. I just cannot wait for a Halloween movie on some evening with the porch lights on and the leaves falling. It is just such a cozy place to be right now. And I also picked up that branch you saw over by the door. It's been dead in our yard for probably weeks, and it needed to be drug off into our burn pile, but it has probably turned out to be my favorite part of the decor this year. It just had these little wispy ends that were just so ever whimsical and creepy. And then I have one crow that I perched right here, which I don't know how many times I have out of the corner of my eye thought there was an actual bird sitting there. I just can't get used to that bird by the window for some reason. But I love the black and the white, and it really all tied in with the witch's brooms. And that's just probably my favorite little spot by the back door this year. And it was all just things I kind of had lying around. So I don't really know why it's taken me so long to just, shop around in the garden a little bit more and go find some branches that are just laying out in our yard. We have a pretty big wooded area around our home, so there is plenty of limbs on the ground at all times to be decorating with. So I'm going to have to remember this again next Halloween and just continue to bring nature up onto the back porch. And speaking of which, I did the same thing for a centerpiece here on the back table with some zinnias that had seen better days, but I just thought it was kind of eerie and, the dried flower look, but just perfect for Halloween. And speaking of dried flowers, my mums have also seen better days. They're starting to head downhill, especially as I'm filming this. It's getting kind of chilly here, so we'll see if they last much longer. I was also pretty inspired to just use what I had in the kitchen again this year too. And one thing I had been seeing a lot of are all the fun faces on different, vases and cups and things around the kitchen. And so honestly, I thought about buying some stickers online, but then I thought, you know what? I have construction paper and I have tape, and these are only going to be up for a couple weeks. So I just cut out some different shapes, and I kind of Googled some different ghost faces just to get some ideas. But this is how they turned out, and just a little bit of Scotch tape and a little bit of, extra construction paper laying around. And it was just kind of fun. I don't know. I had a good time sipping my coffee and just doing a little craft project in the kitchen. I liked how you could arrange the different pieces and the whole face would just change emotions. And I don't know, during this whole thing about decorating my kitchen and decorating my porches, I kind of had to stop a couple times and just be like, this is so filling my cup. This is definitely something that I just love to do. It's a hobby of mine. And so, although it feels like I'm also serving my family, because my kids love when our house is decorated for a holiday. They get so excited. They're like, ooh, what holiday is coming up next, Mom? Like they just know something's happening because I'm putting all of this stuff out. But so it feels like, I'm doing something for my family, but at the same time, it is so filling my cup because I just love to decorate. Little nook right here needed the picture frame to kind of hide all of my cords because I have these spooky lights in there along with my little essential oil diffuser, which puts off like a mist at night. So it kind of glows and it mists out of the cauldron. And then I did buy this little cute ghost that's a little candle wax melt. And he's just so cute lit up at night with the little trick or treat sign and one of my favorite pictures of the kids at Halloween. I kept it pretty simple this year, mostly just black and white in the kitchen. I always have to set my little skeleton up there, but Reese gets mad because she wants to pull him down and dance with him because they're about the same they're about the same size right now. So that's why he's missing his arm. He danced a little bit too much with Reese, but he's pretty cute up on the shelf. I also put some twigs and some creepy cloth over my chandelier and a few little spiders hanging down. So I thought that was a fun way to make it a little bit more eerie in here for, the next couple weeks. I didn't get things out quite as quickly as I wanted to this year, but I always like to decorate for Halloween. Like I said, my kids think it's really fun, and I love the candles at night, and it's just definitely the beginning of the cozy season. So I have little battery-powered candles here, and those little silhouettes that I like to put out on our mantle. I'm going to be back in the kitchen prepping a little bit of lunch for the kids, and I had set out some meat to thaw. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and cook up 2 pounds of this ground beef because I know from my meal plan that I did this week that I'm going to need some of this on hand ready to go for meals. So I'm planning on making some spaghetti, and then later I'm also going to be making some chili. So I just thought, why don't I go ahead and prep some of my meat and have it set aside and cooked? This is something I absolutely love to do and even freeze it. Like freezing cooked ground beef is such an amazing go-to on a weeknight when you need a quick meal. Having a meal plan and then being able to prep food ahead of time is definitely selfless self-care. Now, back to another little afternoon pick-me-up. Now, this is one thing I really didn't want to do. I needed to drink my greens for the day, and I will say I have been feeling so good drinking greens every day. I put a little bit of vitamin C in this one just to make it a little bit more tolerable because let's just be honest, greens juice is not delicious on its own, but I'm working on that concoction, but it definitely helps me to feel my best. So sometimes those things we have to make ourselves do for self-care are also so good in the long run. Now, speaking of things I really didn't want to do, I was thinking for, the last few weeks at least, that I really need to go through all of these pencils and markers and just kind of purge and rearrange again, especially after I just redid my craft room. I have this little caddy in there that the kids keep all of their crayons and markers and things in, and I wanted it newly organized and ready to go. So I just thought, sometimes we put these projects off. This literally took me probably 5 minutes to sit here and just throw away all the broken crayons and the broken pencils and just reorganize it quickly. It's not perfect, but it feels so much better when you get to that point and it's just all organized and pretty, and now the kids can find what they need. I'm serving them, but yet I feel so much better because it's clean and organized as well.
And then the house is happy.
The house is happy. That is a great way to put it. And Mommy's happier, isn't she? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know how it works. Such wise words and observation from my 4-year-old as Mom took the time to clean off the table and organize the things. She noticed my energy and the energy of our home, I guess, as she quoted there, that the house is now happy. I will say, something that's tidy and organized does make me feel so much better. So I think that has helped me a lot this week as I've thought about maybe those things I didn't want to take the time to tidy up or I didn't want to clean off the table, but how if I could just think about it like this is setting me up to feel better when I walk into this room the next time, or my future self is going to thank me when there's no dirty dishes in the sink in the morning, and how all of those things are also serving my family, but they're also serving myself. And I think that depending on your mood for the day and which one you need to serve, either way, you're getting the things done and you're setting yourself up well for the future. And speaking of the near future here, I am going to prep a very quick dinner in my Instant Pot because we have to run out the door to basketball practice. My husband is traveling this week and it's just me and the kids. So I was going to grill chicken, but I just decided today that that was too much work. So we're going to do the old crock pot shredded chicken taco night. So I am throwing in chicken breast, a little bit of the bottom of these salsa jars with a little bit of water to get my Instant Pot rolling, and then taco seasoning, which I will link that recipe for you in the description box below as we head out the door to basketball practice with my cute little crew. Now, tonight is beautiful outside, so I'm kind of in and out of the gym watching the boys, but also taking the girls for a little bit of a walk. This is one of the best times of the year to be getting in those evening walks, so we need to be prioritizing that a little bit more in our self-care plan. Lately, I feel like we've just been on the run a lot in the evenings. And we're doing a little FaceTime with Daddy on the phone while we grab our dinner and get on with the rest of our evening routine. Reese has been using my little lamp as a restaurant lamp, she tells me. So we sit down at the table and it is very, very comfy and cozy in there with that little lamp. I've been linking it below for you guys. I think it's like the greatest $30 that I have spent recently. Anyway, moving on with the evening routine. I am mixing up a little bit of a sourdough bread for tomorrow. I just want to get that prepped for the week and feed my starter. As I said, I was trying to just do a little bit more of that into my routine. I also have been working out at night, which is different than my normal routine. I'm usually a early morning workout person, but with having a new baby in the house, I just don't always sleep all the way through the night. And so I've really been enjoying an evening workout after the kids go to bed and just putting on my headphones, and I can kind of jam out to whatever music I want. I can still hear the baby monitor if I need to, but it's kind of nice to be in my own little world for 30 minutes and get that done before bed. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I just want to go to bed, but I never regret having that little moment to myself. So the next morning here, I am trying a new bread recipe that I saw on Pinterest. I just thought it looked interesting for another, just a regular loaf of bread, but it is sourdough. So I'm going to see if my kids like this one. If you've been hanging out here for a while, they're still eating their quote unquote normal bread from the store, even though I make delicious loaves for them. So I know I've heard from a few of you moms out there in the comments that are in the same boat. So we're just going to keep on keeping on. You know, someday they're going to appreciate this homemade bread. But in the meantime, it might just be a little form of self-care. I hope that you enjoyed this video today and that in some way, shape, or form it inspired you to serve your family in a new way, or to think about the things that you're doing to serve them as maybe a way of also creating a happier home because you're also taking care of yourself at the same time. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Thank you so much for stopping by.